live. It's the Craig Bohl Football Show. KX4 and Gate City Bank present the Craig Bohl Football Show.
September 7th, 2013 was a time to celebrate Bison football. The second straight national title banner went to the rafters. The fans showed up in mid-season form as a way to celebrate the Kansas State win. Fun home opener for the Bison. We welcome to the set the head coach, Craig Bohl. And Coach, talk about Ferris State a little bit. This game almost didn't happen. It was supposed to be Montana State, but Ferris State stepped up to the plate, came in and gave us a game, and they deserve to have a tip of the cap for that.
Well, you know what? They've got a good program. I've known their coach for several years. He was a very successful high school coach and a college coach and got the program moving the right way. He felt like it would be a good experience for their players. We appreciated the competition, and these are dangerous games because you go from a high of Kansas State and you have to ward off the low, and I thought our players did a nice job.
How did you feel about your guys leading up to the week? Because sometimes coming off that high, it's tough.
Well, I said earlier, the only thing more dangerous than a team that doesn't think that they can win is a team that doesn't think that they can lose. We practiced well. I think the body of work after looking at the tape, we played well, but I think we can play better in some areas.
Let's take a look at this ball game. The first half, the crowd was terrific, weren't they?
Oh, without a doubt, and want to say thanks, and they provided a great deal of energy. Here you can see an excellent job of our offensive line protecting. Brock had, as you would say, all day and found Ryan Smith.
Hey, Zach Vraw had a nice offseason. You can tell a little bit of difference in this kid.
Zach's picked up a step. He always had very capable hands. Here you can see he's got good leaping ability and great concentration. And
you get on Ferris State early here with a big play in the passing game. Was this a game where you thought maybe you could get some deep balls?
We've used this pattern throughout the year, and when people are really dedicating a lot of men to stop the run, you can slip receivers behind them off a play-action pass. Brock did a nice job. Zach came down with a big catch.
You get into the red zone here. It took 4 plays, though, at the goal line.
Well, that's hard territory sometimes, but that's good experience for our players, for Brock to come up with the sneak and get the touchdown.
Early on, the defense was flying around. They have a 3-and-out early here.
Our defense is playing with a great deal of energy, and you can see Cole Jury comes up and has got pulled up the quarterback in a nice play by Christian Dudzik.
Hey, this felt like a playoff game as far as noise goes. It was loud in the dome.
Well, that makes it always difficult for an offense to adjust to the noise.
Crockett gets this series running the football great.
Really good job of that's our inside power play. It's our noted play, and Ferris State's taking a couple chances, and it's not going to work out very well for them.
Here's Superman again, Andrew Bonnet.
Oh, you know what? What a great hurdle here. I mean, this is a 245-pound fullback tight end. And very athletic player. Yeah,
you don't see that out of fullbacks often. Now John Crockett again for 7, and you're going to punch another one in here.
Yeah, it's a good job of blocking up front. Here's John bowling his way through the end zone.
Now defensively, again, they're getting nothing early in the game. It's another 3-and-out early for Ferris State.
Well, 3-and-outs create tremendous field position. A nice job here by Travis Beck, and I think it's Danny Luki, and a lot of game tackling going on. Get the ball back for our offense.
The timing in the passing game was just terrific, and this pass in particular that you're going to see is just outstanding by Brock Jensen.
You know what? Brock has improved his skill set as a quarterback. Here he put the ball right on the money. That's a timing route. Ryan does the job. That ball is thrown before Ryan comes out of his break.
Zach Vraw, a 42-yarder, did not score. This one's 43, and he does score on this one.
Well, good job of protecting once again up front. Brock put the ball on the money. Zach caught the ball and turned the corner. And here you can see his speed where he's really improved.
It's 21-0 now. Bison, we're still in the first quarter. Now on the ensuing kickoff, another great find out of Nebraska. You're finding great players there. Bohl Likas.
Yeah, really good job on the coverage team by Bohl here. Very aggressive play. Went down low on the guy, and that ball, I think, is inside their 20.
Now we're in the second quarter here, and they have a few players that have some speed, and Dante Ingram goes for 12 yards here.
You know, Colton Hegel was free right off the edge, and you're right. They've got some good players here, and they circled us, and we didn't make the play when we needed to there.
You create a turnover here, though, and I bet C.J. Smith is going to get some ribbing from his guys because he ends up getting tackled by the quarterback.
Well, if you would have seen this quarterback can play a lot of different positions, but a nice play by C.J. He's emerging as an excellent corner.
Now, the next play, you score a touchdown. It's Crockett again, and you're all over him at this point at 28-0.
You know what? We came in trying to establish momentum. We certainly did right here. I thought it was a good job blocking up front. And John, here you can see, made the turn, made the corner, and then about took a camera guy down with him.
Yeah, that's some expensive equipment flying around right there. You got to look out, though. Forced fumble now. You did a good job of creating some turnovers in the first half.
You know, we really strive to be an aggressive defense, and turnovers are huge, and it was important for us to set a tempo here, which we did. Got the ball back for offense.
Looks like you're going to punch one in here for 35-0, but there is a turnover on your part here in the first half.
Well, we threw the ball down the heart of the field, a little bit of an errant throw. That number 1, as a transfer from Michigan, I think started a couple games. He was a good player, and he came up with a nice pick.
Another young name that people might not be aware of, Eric Perkins. He made some nice plays.
Perk, this is a great job. He knew he was going to get hit, came up, and you know, just another receiver that's coming. He plays his role to a T.
He's kind of like Ryan Smith, isn't he? Great hands.
Yeah, but it's difficult to compare a guy to Ryan Smith. Perk does a good job.
Now Andrew Grothman finishes this one off, and it is 35-0 after this play.
Here's the pride of Hillsboro, and I believe this is his first touchdown. He really came in the end zone, and we're really excited. He's excited as well.
Now we're going to break this play down later in the show as well, so we'll show it to you quick here. But a targeting play called against Brian Shepard, and he is ejected from the game. Yeah, it's a ruling in college football. We're trying to, you know, make the game safer and yet still have an aggressive play. And the ruling on the field was that he left his feet and he targeted his head. And that's what the ruling was, and that's what the referee told me. And all of a sudden, they get a little thing going here. You know what? Momentum is a crazy game and part of a crazy game, and a nice throw and a nice catch on the fade route. Well, the first half comes to a close. It's 35-7. Brock Jensen, terrific. 13 of 16. Vraw had 100 yards at the half, 392 total yards of offense. Grant Olson would have a big day, and he had a nice first half. Now on the Bison hot seat, one of the all-time great efforts on the hot seat by Ryan Smith of Wahpeton. Early morning guy or a night owl? Definitely a night owl. Definitely. I like to stay up late. I don't know. What's the best TV show of all time? I gotta say Hard Knocks. Okay, that's a good one. Do you like to go dancing on a date? You know what? I'm not a big dancer, so probably not. I'd probably embarrass myself. I don't blame you, yeah. Facebook or Twitter? Definitely Twitter. Facebook's getting old. Would you rather go to the theater or rent a movie? I'd probably rather go to the theater. I like watching new movies more than yeah. If you could have any job other than football, what would it be? Probably be a hockey player. Okay. You ever look at who is calling and let it go to voicemail? I do all the time, unfortunately. Would you ever skydive or bungee jump? I would definitely skydive for sure. Do you prefer talking or listening? I'm more of a listener than a talker. Favorite thing about Coach Bohl? Coach Bohl, you know what? He shows leadership every single time he comes out in the field, and you know, I really appreciate that about him. How do you want Bison fans to remember you when you're done? I want to remember me as the small-town guy that made something out of himself. Coach, it's 35-7 at half, but you're not satisfied by any stretch at that point, are you? Well, a little bit concerned when they came up with a drive and scored, and you always want to reestablish momentum the first series of the second half. Let's start the second half here. Look at the highlights, break this down a little bit, and see how it played out. Their quarterback, he's a big kid. He's thick, and he can run the football right up the middle, just like a running back. He's an excellent athlete. He's 6'4", I think 220 pounds. Here we popped the ball out, and he was pretty astute and came up with the ball. Now right here, just right up the middle, quarterback keeper. Yeah, this series forced us into some challenges. It's quarterback ISO, and we adjusted to it later on in the game, but they had us on our heels during this drive. Now here we came, and once again, we're always trying to strip the ball, and the ball came out, and the official had ruled that he was down. There's the ball, and yeah, that was a ruling on the field, and we move forward. Yeah, pretty clear cut right there. 11 yards here on the rush. They're continuing to move the football here. Yeah, this is where we were, you know, on our heels on defensively, but then that's not typical of us. And we forced them into a field goal, which was positive. We didn't give up a touchdown, and it scores 35-10. But great teams answer. You know, they gave up a drive, but Brock came back and was in real rhythm in the passing game. You know, Brock has played really well the last two games, and you're right, Jeremy. Coming into this after giving up a touchdown and then coming back this next series is really important. Here, Brock comes around the corner and finds Nate Moody on the comeback route. Nate Moody's really improved too, huh? He certainly has. Yeah. You know, the product from Dickinson's done well. Sam O'Jury finishes it off. It's 42-10 at this point.
Yeah, you know, now we've reestablished momentum, felt good about it, and we're starting to look, saying, okay, can we get some of our backup players in the game?
Grant Olson's still in there. He gets a sack on this play.
We wanted to make sure that we got our offense on the field with good field position. Our starters were still in there. Grant came up with a sack. And now you can see Carson Wentz, Chase Morlock, a lot of offensive linemen who are not starters in the game.
Talk about the skill set of Carson Wentz. We'll see. He can run the football. He's got a great arm too, but he can really run it.
You know what? He's 6'5", and he's got good speed, and he's not afraid to be aggressive and get downfield. And it was great to get him some meaningful reps.
Morlock's been, he played on special teams throughout the game, but he looked good in at running back.
Well, he's a strong physical guy that's very competitive, and we had made the determination at the beginning of the year probably to play him, and this night seemed like the best night to do it.
And somewhere Kevin Feeney is smiling after watching this as high school coach.
Well, it's great to have more head spread come in there, and it was a good job of running by Chase.
Hey, just like at South Dakota last year down in Sioux Falls, Zach Colvin had a pick-6 for a touchdown. Zach's got some speed and some talent as well, and he scores here.
He certainly does. Here you can see the quarterback was under some duress, but you can see Zach picked off the ball and scooted right down the sidelines. Anytime a guy can score on defense, that's something special, and that's a real confidence booster for Zach.
Business as usual. The final 56-10. Brock Jensen, 19 of 23. The Bison passing overall just 20 of 26. Outstanding. Running the football, 34 carries, 162 yards, 5 scores. And Grant Olson had a big, big day. He had 14 total tackles. Let's hear from the players after the game.
I think the coaches and the upperclassmen, they do a good job of helping me get settled in and just feeling comfortable out there on the field. So I think I'm adjusting pretty well. Just keep making strides, practicing every day and working hard, and still keep understanding the system more and more.
We want to run the ball effectively. We want to be able to throw it when we have to, and play good defense and be sound in the special teams. That's Bison football, and you know, limit our turnovers and play hard every play, and that's what we do around here.
It was good to get the first game out of the way for me, and now, I mean, I'll be ready to go. I've got it down. I mean, I'll be ready to contribute in any way they need me, specials, if they need to throw me in for some runs, I'll be ready to do that.
Just coming out in the second half, I don't know. I don't know if we just weren't ready to play or what the deal was, if we were tired, but it's not as good as we can do, and we're going to try and get some things corrected this next week.
Never satisfied. Love it. Well, time for our Nodak Mutual Insurance Player of the Game. Zach Vraw had a terrific offseason. He is completely healthy, and it is showing on the field. Vraw hit some deep balls against Ferris State. He had 100 yards in the first half with a sweet 43-yard touchdown. He says this was a game to work on the passing game.
We had in the game plan that we were going to throw the ball a lot. Last week playing Kansas State, we knew they're a real good opponent, so we were going to just stay true to our run and then pass when we can. And today we knew we were going to take some more shots, so we had a lot of faith in the receivers and quarterback and made some big plays.
Outstanding game by Zach Vraw. Coach, let's break this down a little bit. Let's talk about the targeting play.
Sure.
Not specifically maybe the Brian Shepard call. We can't relive that too much, but just in general, the targeting rule this year could impact some games.
Well, it certainly can. The way the ruling goes is if the defensive player leaves his feet and the offensive player is defenseless, you have to stay lower in the shoulder area. And so what the officials have been instructed to do, if it's close, if it's something that is close, to go ahead and rule it as targeting. Now, all the other leagues have, that's a reviewable play.
Right.
And they can reinstate the guy. Brian was ejected off the information that the white hat, the referee, had received. And so I'd like to take a look at, okay, is this exactly targeting? I think it's a good rule from the standpoint of player safety. What is disappointing that that play couldn't be reviewed. To have a guy kicked out of the game is a pretty serious penalty.
Now in the first half, if they get thrown out in the first half, they just miss that game. But if it's the second half, they have to miss the first half of the next game, right? And
that's why it's really important. A lot of the FCS conferences are looking, saying, hey, we need to start installing reviewable plays. And we have all the data there, and it would be interesting to see if the officials had an opportunity to review that, whether Brian really would have been ejected.
Now this jersey thing with Brock Jensen, talk about that a little bit. He had 18 on, he's usually 16. Explain that.
Well, every year, as Lou Holt says, there are 3 crises, and this is, I told Brock, this is not a crisis. Somebody stole Brock's jersey. I don't know where it is, but maybe he'd like to return it, but there was a mad scramble. We said, heck, let's run out to Shields right now and see if we can buy one or ask some volunteer from the fans. Couldn't come up with anything, so he switched to 18.
Well, certainly it doesn't matter what number he's wearing lately. He plays well, and no matter what the number is. Now, this formation early on in the ball game, you have 2 tackles in the game, obviously, and one goes in motion, and they both end up on the same side. Talk about this a little bit. Very interesting.
Well, it forms an unbalanced offensive line, and Billy's a very good athlete, and it didn't work successfully here, but you know, you try to do some things either with that formation to confuse a defense or to out-leverage them, and I thought Ferris State did a nice job adjusting.
Also, Chase Morlock, what a great story. He may not get a lot of playing time at running back, get some special teams, but the future of this kid is bright. Everyone's talking about him. He's a local kid. It's a great story and easy to cheer for.
Well, we're really pleased that Chase decided to come and become a Bison. It's been a while since we've had a Moorhead product, and Chase has got really good ability running the football, but he brings great value to our football team right now on special teams, and that's a critical portion of the game. So it's going to be fun to see him improve and continue to progress in our program.
Talented young man. Now, on our Olaf Anderson feature story this week, we're going to take a look at Danny Luki, a kid who has really worked to make an impact for the Bison football program. Stay with us. Welcome back to the show. Bison players know how to joke around and have fun. Case in point, they have labeled senior defensive tackle Danny Luki Danny Football, an idea they came across during a certain Heisman Trophy winner who's been in the news a little bit lately. But beyond the nickname, there is a great story with Danny Luki, a great kid, a smart kid who through guts and determination and self-pride is leaving his mark on Bison football.
Danny Football.
Danny Football, as we like to call him.
My son gets a kick out of the Danny Football, so and I told him, you know what, if there's a guy that deserves that name, it's Danny all the way.
Danny Luki's football career wasn't always so positive. His freshman year was cut short due to a torn ACL and MCL, and he was sure that he'd always have some pain in that knee. But all that changed during fall camp.
This fall camp, I don't wear my brace anymore. I barely do any treatment other than icing on my knee. It is completely healed, and I haven't had to go back to wearing my brace.
Now that he's back on the field for the Bison, fans can see what started here on the practice fields at Fargo South, a tireless work ethic that endeared him to teammates and coaches alike.
Danny had a high motor, and you can't coach effort. I think that's what you see out of Danny each and every Saturday, and we saw that on Fridays. And as his progression grew in high school football, he learned to play with his hands, he had good feet, and you could just see that he had a high level of college potential.
Luki walked on to the Bison football team and was a long shot to even see the field, but he never stopped working.
I kind of always thought that, you know, Danny would plateau at some point, but he hasn't. He's continued to get better. He knows his limitations. He's a physical kid that works really hard, and he is a very smart kid.
I definitely knew that I wasn't the most talented guy on our team, and that I knew that every little detail that what I did was going to make a difference.
And it has. The 6'5" senior has played his way into the defensive tackle rotation and leaves his teammates screaming Danny Football every time he makes a play. For the Craig Bohl Football Show, I'm Jamal Spencer.
Coach, you have to appreciate his determination. There had to be points in the last 3 or 4 years where Danny could have given up and just said, the heck with it, I'm not going to do this anymore.
The average guy would have. I mean, he came in as a defensive end. We promoted him to a defensive tackle. He's gone through adversity. You know what? There's lots of Danny Footballs out there in North Dakota and western Minnesota. You know what? Danny Football stands for all those good guys.
And he proves that if you want to do it, you can accomplish things at the highest levels.
Yeah, without question. And that's what's good about college football. It's a pleasure to coach a guy like Danny Football.
Time for our Peterson Farm Seed future crop of Bison. He is another tremendous find from the state of Nebraska. Nick DeLuca did play at Kansas State on special teams and is a future linebacker. He has all the makings of being a big-time star. Nick is a winner. He played for powerhouse Millard North in Omaha, and he is ready to do anything to help the team in his true freshman season.
You know, coming into it, all I thought was, you know, work hard, just trying to earn myself a spot, wherever that is, whether it's special teams, you know, getting in at linebacker, wherever that spot may be. And, you know, Coach thought that I, you know, could live up to it, so.
Coach, you've really found some fantastic kids out of the state of Nebraska. Millard North is a powerhouse high school program. They were 13-0 in his senior year. He has the potential to be a really good one, doesn't he?
Oh, really does. We call him Rocky Balboa, the Italian stallion from Omaha. You know, when Nebraska-Omaha dropped football, that was a void in talent that UNO had an excellent football program. Steve Standard and A.J. Cooper have done a great job recruiting down there, and it's been a very fertile recruiting ground for us. And this young man has got a bright, bright future.
It's hard to find a kid that mature, too, physically. He's 6'3", 240. That's big for a true freshman, isn't it?
It's real big, and what has surprised us is his mobility and his agility. We saw that on high school tape. Until you start working with him, like I said, he's got a really big upside.
Well, we're going to wrap up this Ferris State game, set up the next opponent, and the bye week. Stay with us.
It's time for another game-changing play in history. Presented by Pioneer brand T-Series soybeans. Be a game changer.
Hess intercepted. It's Marcus Williams. He has room to run. Williams down the sideline. They're not going to catch him. Marcus Williams, touchdown, Bison.
Be a game changer. Plant Pioneer brand T-Series soybeans. From DuPont Pioneer.
Always fun to look back at those great plays from years past. So Ferris State in the books, Coach. Now a bye week. Delaware State on September 21st.
Well, I think early in the year, Jeremy, we need to hone in on our fundamentals and continue to improve as a football team. The portion of the year where you've got to get battle tested ready before you get into a tough conference like the Missouri Conference is right now. And so we got to take this week and utilize it well. It won't be an off week. We need to utilize this bye week to get better as a football team.
And how do you as coaches handle this? Is this a time where you do other things like recruiting? Is it a different week in that regard?
Well, we certainly have found through the years that we've got to multitask to get out on the recruiting trail, which we'll do some, but there's a balance between working on X's and O's on the football field and recruiting.
All right. Ferris State is in the books. The Bison are 2-0. Enjoy the bye week, and we will be back here on September 21st. Have a great week, everyone.